everyone, my name is Lee and this is my first clip. And the reason that I was uploading for this video on the YouTube and also the Instagram is that I would like to really share with some of the experiences and the helpful tips that I actually had in my workplace within the global healthcare industry. And before I was actually going on to the topic, I'd like to share very briefly about myself. I actually spent nearly 20 years in 5 different countries. That includes Thailand, Singapore, where I graduated my high school. Then I was moving myself to the UK, where I spent 10 years and graduated my medical school. Then afterward, I was deciding to going back in Korea, and I will actually share these details more later. But I was just coming into Korea to get married with my wife. So, like all the happy endings, I actually become the father of twins, and they're both 6 years, like back of the shelf, as some of their pictures. Then I spent 5 to 6 years working in the workplaces in Korea within the R&Ds and the medical affairs team. Then afterward, I was promoted myself into the region where I spent nearly 3 years in Singapore in the Asia Pacific, in charge of the 11 countries on Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and all the Southeast Asia, as becoming the title of the head of medical portfolio management. So working after 3 years time, I was also again deciding myself to going back in Korea and within the COVID era and starting my career as a medical franchise head in the global pharmaceutical company. Then I was recently moving myself into the C-level in the global healthcare company. So the main reason that I would like to really share with today's clip is really having with these 3 topics that we always really struggle to have. First topic I was always thinking myself is, how do you really deal with the person that you really hated most but still have to see it in your workplace? The first reason to asking this question is, we always have someone who have very contrary to your character, personality, and also the interest, but you still need to really face and also mingle with them, interact, then also driving the result. So the first thing that I would like to really think would be helpful is, everyone is actually having the set of energy which is quite constant, and this is my belief. And because we always have this set amount of the energies, we cannot spend everywhere. So sometimes you want to actually kind of spend for some of the unnecessary things, like when you're just kind of going into a workplace, someone is like irritating you on the subway, who's really tackling on your shoulders. If you're really dealing with all these instances with like small amounts of the energies, then obviously your energy level will be diminished. And this is actually one thing that people are really getting into a stressful situation based on the stress management, and as well as for deteriorating as even for the finance. So I'd like to really suggest that if similar things really happening, then obviously I suggest fight or the flight situation, because in the medical terms, this term is really like written in the sympathetic nerve as your central nerve system. So when people are really evolving from like their eras, there are 2 things that they always really adopt. Either they're really fighting with the situation, so meaning that you either desensitizing with these stressful situations from the person that stresses you, or you just kind of run away from the situation. And sometimes this could really help. So I suggest that if these things are really coming out, then obviously you need to minimize with the contact with the person much as possible. And if you're really having to deal with these person, then obviously you just need to desensitize yourself and making sure that this does not really consume your energy. Because your energy level is really precious, then you need to actually spend like wisely as one of the resources that you actually have. Second topic I'd like to share is how we could increase our salaries. And this is actually the question that really becomes interesting for all our professional business person. And the simple explanation of myself is, put yourself into the market. And this is actually what of my mentors really told me, because if you put yourself into the market, you exactly know how much that the market is really set you in terms of your expertise as a quantifiable price. So having said that, even you're not actually intending to moving with your market is really setting you with this range of more increasing salaries, then obviously your expertise and technique are more recognized as more wide range from the other industry or other companies. But if the price range of these salaries are much less than what you currently have, then appreciate the workplaces that you're currently belonging to, because this is the workplace that really treating you as a valuable asset or the resources, or they're just kind of seeing your potentials. So this is where you need to really kind of having your gratitude on where and the when to work, and treat yourself as the players rather than the workers. And this is actually the quote that I was getting from the famous leadership book called The Connecting. And this is really helpful kind of tip, that if you actually kind of put yourself in more measurable terms, then it kind of builds up your expertise and knowledge step by step, and it actually kind of getting you into more kind of higher kind of positions. For the third tips that I would like to share is how we could increase our skill set, because the skill set are important, but some workplaces we always have these terms R&R, roles of responsibility, standard operating principles, and for my technical terms there is no such thing as an R&R which is existing, because all these terms are only determining you for the boundaries that you actually have. But in terms of the workplaces, there are always the places requires for your support and the help. So sometimes your colleagues might be struggle to really solving with some of the problems, but this is not really currently belonging to your R&R. What do? We just kind of go and at least trying to really collaborate and help much as possible. It might not be the tangible help that they actually need, but at least they actually feel the sense of belonging and more bonding as the colleague of yourself. So this actually kind of becomes more creating more helpful kind of forces as an alliance, and as these experiences build up, then obviously your technique and for creating the teamwork is much more increasing. So these 3 tips are usually really helpful, because for the people who was really growing with the organizations, you usually get to sit down with exploring different kind of expertise, and obviously more expertise becomes creating more opportunities. So these are always the things that I have, and we see ourselves in the next time. Bye for now.